Alright, hello everyone, this is Sino, and I'm going to be showing you the Heavenly Tempest build, name to be decided. I think that's what I'm going with. This is the update to the Maelstrom build that I made in B28, and this is the B29 Ultimate Ready version. The build is obviously not completed. I haven't finished Ultimate yet. I'm still working through it. I still have to slay Karaz. Level 82 and Matt's is 85. So the build isn't done, but it's at a point where I think everything works, and I don't expect anything ahead of now to really pose much of a challenge. So, just getting into things, want to start with the build itself real quick. Um, I'll go with Demolitionist at first, because that's simple. Not much really changed from the last build. We're still working with Fire Strike, primarily using Static Strike for the immense lightning damage. And the big key thing that changed is that we got Flashbang and maxed it out, because Flashbang is almost essential for a Demolitionist in Ultimate. We also got Canister Bomb, using it at one point with a match transmuter, simply so that we can stun a crowd for 3 to 6 seconds, which is really powerful. I also picked up Ozuin's, how you pronounce that, Wrath. It's not fantastic, but it's more damage that I didn't have before. I might get rid of it, but there's not really anywhere else I need points, so it doesn't really matter. So this is all simple. I didn't get any more mastery points. This is where we were before. There's not really anything I would change here. I might maybe get temper for additional armor, but I don't think that's all that great. Yeah, there's not really anywhere to improve with Demolitionist here. In Nightblade, however, we did change some things up. We got Phantasmal Armor and matched it for the pierce resistance and the armor. The pierce resistance helps a lot in Ultimate and in Elite. I think I matched this in Elite, and it was definitely worth it. The other stats don't so much matter. We also increased Veil of Shadow a little bit. I think it's worth doing this in Ultimate, probably not so much in Elite. The offensive ability reduction and the total speed reduction is really helpful, and the total speed reduction synergizes nicely with, where is it? The slow target on Searing Light with Flashbang. So this is pretty useful for the combo. Most importantly, the number one reason why this build works is that we took Shadow Dance and matched it, so that we get 18% chance to avoid melee attacks and 18% chance to avoid projectiles. The melee attacks one is the most important. Oh, and we also got some defensive ability, which is nice. The melee attacks one is the most important, and we'll get to why when I go over the items of the build, but just keep this in mind. I think I also put another point in Pneumatic Burst. I'm not sure about that. In addition, I took Nidala's Justifiable Ends for the cooldown reduction on Shadow Strike, and I also have some cooldown reduction on my items, so it all synergizes nicely and it lets me Shadow Strike more. And I also got Nightfall to give Shadow Strike a bit of an AoE and Life Leech, and a chance to put targets asleep, but I don't rely on that, and I don't think it's very good anyways, because as soon as you hit a sleeping target, they wake up. So it's kind of the weakest form of crowd control that there is. But all in all, Nightfall was an AoE. It does decent damage. It has potential to do around 1,000 damage at once, which isn't bad. But the Life Leech helps against enemies that can be Life Leeched. I've noticed in Ultimate, there's a lot of enemies that you can't leech life from, and I don't know if that's a bug or what, but all in all, I still think this is helpful. I don't know if it's necessary to have it at the rank that I have it, but it is good nonetheless. Aside from that, I just deducted Baratheon Shears and Execution, and Amarasta's Crit Cut, and Whirling Deaths, because I got +1 to all skills, so I just wanted these to stay where they are, because they don't really scale all that much for a lightning damage build. Yeah, so that's all of this. With Devotion, things got a little bit chaotic. I'm all over the place, as you can see, and really, I think that's just a casualty of playing Ultimate. So where to begin? We still have Tempest. I matched out the Tempest constellation. I think in B28 I didn't have this star, but I matched this out. Gosh, I forget what I had in B28 and what I didn't have. If I didn't have Viper, I have it now. And this is primarily for the vitality resistance and the offensive ability and the reduced target's elemental resistances. And reduced resistances on this build is actually pretty potent, but we'll get to that a little later when I go over the items of the build. As you can see with the crossroads, I have all of them except for the defensive ability. What is this, primordial? Yeah, primordial. I have all of these except for the defensive ability. I think all of these stats are really good. I mean, this is plus 10% health, this is plus 30 offensive ability. It's really nice. I have 1 point in Lion. I think I had this in B28. Solely for the health. The defensive ability is negligible. I mean, it's nice, but it doesn't make a difference. I still have Sailor's Guide. I've been contemplating getting rid of this. I don't really know what I would replace it with, because I need the 5 Primordial in order to use Tempest. I don't really know what I would do with this without this. Wraith would be okay for the lightning damage, but it doesn't give me enough. Oh, it might give me enough Primordial. I'm not sure. Up here, we also went with Ulo, the Keeper of the Waters. I got 3 points in it. I originally had this, and then realized I didn't need it whatsoever because I had already reached the cap. So I just have these 3 points. The granted skill is utter garbage in my opinion. Like, it's probably one of the worst skills in all of Devotion. So we're just not going to go there. What else? Still have Crane. Crane is basically essential in Ultimate, but I had it in B28, so nothing really changed there. Still have Heart. Contemplating changing this up for something, but I don't really know what. I do need the affinity that it gives. But I don't really like a lot of these stats, except for the offensive ability and the crit damage. Well, I guess that's most of the stats. Whatever. Still have Heart, still have Empty Throne. This got more useful. Probably the biggest point of contention for me is Crab. Crab sucks. The granted skill is on block, and obviously I can't block anything because I'm dual wielding. So really the only thing I'm getting out of this, elemental resistance, pierce resistance, and some elemental damage. That's it. And for, what is it, 5 points? That's kind of garbage, but I don't know where else I could get pierce resistance and elemental resistance. And elemental damage. I'm getting, what, 30 elemental damage? 30%? I don't know where to get those stats otherwise, and I do need those stats. So, this is garbage. This is basically garbage. This is half garbage. But the other half of the constellation I need. So, it sucks, but it is what it is. What else? Oh yeah, the 2 big ones. I took Chariot of the Dead. I think this is pretty helpful in Ultimate. It gives a huge amount of offensive ability. Like, it gives you 45 offensive ability, plus some amount from Cunning. I'm trying to do the math in my head. I think this would be another 8 offensive ability. And then you get 15 more and 3% more, which is huge. And then it gives you a heal when you get crit. And when you get crit, it also gives you bonus defensive ability so that you don't get crit again. This is fantastic in every way. It's not really lightning oriented or anything, but it's really helpful for the build, and it lets the build compete in Ultimate, which is the important thing. To that degree, we also have Behemoth. We don't have, oh yeah, up here we didn't take the Vitality Resistance because I have Vitality Resistance capped anyways, so I just didn't go for that. Behemoth, we don't have Constitution because why would you bother with that? And we don't have increased health regeneration because I don't really need that. Health regeneration is minimal in Ultimate anyways. But we do have 400 health, plus 8% health, and the granted skill, which helps. This helps a lot. And yeah, that's basically it for the devotion. I don't think there's anything else. There's not a whole lot I want besides what I have. It would be nice to have this, but there's no way in hell that this is ever happening. Other than that, I'm contemplating whether it's worth taking like 3 points out of here, keeping well, maybe all the points out of here. Taking these points out, putting them into Tardo the Builder, just to get some defensive ability and more health. And maybe, no, not that one, maybe percent armor. I'm not sure if that's worth it. It might be worth it. It's probably worth it, but that I would still need to make up 18% pierce resist and 30% elemental damage. Not sure what to do about that. Alright, so that's all the skills. Let's talk about items, because items changed up a lot. Beforehand, I'll move these into here because that's where they belong. Beforehand, we had two of these axes, Strifallen of the Wind, and you can see that's actually a DPS gain for me, but I don't care about sheet DPS, I care about lightning procs and what I have happen randomly. That's the whole idea of the build. I also had the Elite Chosen Head Guard for a while. This is the level 70 version that got added with B29. It's good, but it doesn't keep you alive, so it's not that good. And staying alive in Ultimate is what you need. I had Thunderstruck of Alacrity, I moved on to Resonant of Alacrity. I'm not sure if this was a great choice. The Thunderstruck might be a little stronger, but until I get one of the higher levels, I can't really make that call. Also had a Stormcaller's Gem, that's no longer the case, we'll get to why soon. I used to have 2 Vampiric Rings of Attack. I swapped one of them out, and we'll get to why as well. Used to have a Dreadlords of Attack for attack damage converted to health and offensive ability. Swapped that out. Used to have Consecrated of Vitality for a crapload of health and Vitality Resistance, but my Vitality Resistance is capped anyways, so don't need it. Also used to have Zeal, and I think I'll get to this last, but you can still use Zeal on this build if you don't want to craft one of the higher tier relics. But I think going with Oblivion, which is a chaos damage relic, is a better choice overall. We'll get to why in a sec, but Zeal still works. You can still beat the game with Zeal. It's a great relic. So what am I using? I'm using 2 Dawnbreaker's Sledges, and I would really like not to be using these, but I have to. The reason I'm using these is because I'm not using this, and I would really like to use this, but the Chain Lightning damage is abysmally low. If this... I feel like this is bugged, and that the Chain Lightning damage, the max damage, should be the minimum damage, and the minimum damage just shouldn't be anything, and it should have a different max damage, because that is ridiculously low for a level 75 item. There's no reason ever why you would want this. So if that ever gets improved, if they fix this legendary, I'll be using Storm Hearts. Until then, I'm using Dawnbreaker Sledges. Dawnbreaker's Sledge is okay, it gives you more % health, it gives you some decent flat lightning damage and some lightning conversion, and aside from that, all of the stats suck. Although the lightning bolt is very potent. If we look at these guys, the lightning bolt on the Dawnbreaker's Sledge does roughly 4 times as much damage over twice the radius, with a higher chance to proc, and it has a guaranteed 1 second stun, whereas the old ones had a randomized stun. So the proc on Dawnbreaker's Sledge is godly. It is absolutely amazing. If I had that proc on this item, this build would actually be really, really viable. But I don't, so whatever. So yeah, if I make this swap, I'll have a little less health. That'll really be the big change that'll happen. But everything else, all of the damage of the build will improve, and I think I can survive with 11% health loss, because that will be an additive 11%, and I already have, like, probably plus 40% health, if not more, so I don't think losing these would be too big of a deal. I'm using 2 Haunted Steels in both of them, because Life Leech. Before I had a Mark of Dreeg in one of my weapons. I think I'm making the right call by going double Life Leech, but I think there's also an argument to make for also using a Mark of Dreeg, and we'll get to that argument a little bit later. I'm gonna drink some water real quick because I'm a little parched, but hold on. Alright. So those are my weapons. As far as augments go, I have to scroll these down. I'm using Troll Wart Powder in both of them because that's really about as good as it gets. I'm not inclined to use any of the damage upgrades because Troll Wart Powder is just so essential in Ultimate. What to talk about next? Mantle of Madragon is amazing. It gives us a lightning proc too. I would like there to be a better shoulder piece because in reality this isn't actually all that amazing. But there isn't a better one, so here we are, we're using Mantle of Madragon. Using the Clairvoyance hat and the Clairvoyance Vobe for a lot of total damage, which helps. A lot of offensive ability, which helps. Good resistances, I don't think the hat gives any resistances, but the Vobe gives Aether Resistance, which I am in dire need of at 34%. Although Aether Resistance is not all that important, in my opinion. But all in all, I think these are the best route to take. I used to be using this, the Shroud of Illusion, for a lot more health, more Aether Resistance, technically more lightning damage, but due to the set bonus, not. But the Ward of Illusion also helped. It gave me more defensive ability and chance to avoid projectiles, which was nice. But I'm gonna opt for Clairvoyance 2-piece set. What else? I'm holding off on a couple things in particular because there's some things that chain together really well and I want to talk about them at once. So I guess Life Giver Signet, plus health, plus maximum vitality resist, plus vitality resist, and attack damage converted to health is basically why I'm using this. The granted skill, kinda meaningless. I mean, the alternative is using this, which would be more offensive ability, the same amount of attack damage converted to health, and no attack speed, no vitality resist benefits, so I'm gonna opt for the defensive sides of Life Giver Signet in this instance. If I got another one, which I haven't yet, but if I got another one, I don't know if I would make the change because I'm already hurting with OA here. I think I might keep this, even if I got another Life Giver Signet. As for the rest, Resonant of Alacrity, went over that. Survivalists of Survival. There's probably some suffixes that would be better, but I think the Survivalist prefix is probably the best for the build. Getting a lot of health and physique and DA out of this. The movement speed is, nice, but it's not the kicker. And the proc, in Ultimate, the proc will not save your life. It doesn't matter. Alright, as for the rest, so earlier I went over Pneumatic Burst and how it gave me 18% chance to avoid melee attacks and projectiles. I also have Tinker's Ingenuity and Pretty Great Pants, which give me another 20% chance to avoid melee attacks. So if we look at this, I go up to 38% chance to dodge melee attacks, which is huge. That's more than 1 in every 3 attacks. I'll just not take any damage whatsoever, and that's why this build can actually go toe-to-toe with a lot of content in Ultimate. This makes the build very powerful, and because I can have, in theory, 100% uptime on Pneumatic Burst, I can just get this permanently. It's pretty fantastic. So these go great together for that reason, but more so, Tinker's Ingenuity gives you a proc when you go under 30% health. It gives you 15% damage absorption, which neither of the masteries can give you. It gives you more damage, and it doubles your health and energy regeneration. And we'll get to this because I have a lot of low health procs on this build that kind of synergize together really well, and basically the idea is when I get to low health on this build, I want to instantly jump back to full health, get a crap load of buffs, and push my advantage against the enemies and just go ham. And I can, because that's the way this entire build works out. I also get more poison and acid and bleeding resist caps, but as you can see, I haven't actually reached those caps yet. In theory, I think I can, if I get better vols, but but I don't think I'm going to reliably. Pretty Great Pants gives me Cunning and Spirit. I need the Spirit most of all in order to equip this set. It gives me Cunning and Spirit. It also gives me a lot of health, which is nice. And the light radius is nothing whatsoever. But most importantly, Shimmering Splendor. I thought this was a joke the first time I looked at it. It is not. 100% chance when hit every 12 seconds and in an 8-meter radius basically hits everything in the screen, and it either confuses enemies or it terrifies them. And both are good. Both have kind of the same effects, but one of two things will happen when this goes off. Well, technically both will happen. For one thing, it takes a lot of damage off you, because if enemies are terrified or if they're confused, they're not hitting you. That's it. So, you're kind of immune. Anything under the effects of this can't hurt you, basically. But more importantly, if something is terrified or confused, any spells or skills that they have, they can't use. So, if you're in Steps of Torment, for instance, and you terrify, like, 4, I don't know what they're called, the priests. You terrify 4 skeletal priests, they can't heal anything, as long as they're terrified, and the terrify lasts for 5 seconds. So, you can just go nuts on a high priority target, knowing that it won't be healed by any of the priests for 5 seconds. If enemies have, like, crowd control or anything, they won't use it against you for 5 seconds, as they're terrified or confused. This is a huge, major buff. And you'll be getting hit a lot because you're in melee range, so everything kind of hits you, unless you have Pneumatic Burst up. So this is a massive boon to the build. I thought this was a joke item at first. It is legitimately one of the best items for the build, I think. We're also using Avatar of Mercy, which is arguably overpowered, but I wouldn't mind it being even a little stronger, to be honest. So it gives you a crapload of resistances, for one. It also gives you the Mercy proc, which when you're at low health, you get 50% of your health back, ignore 30% damage, and reduce crowd control effects on you for 5 seconds. Which is significant. If we combine this with this, we get 65% damage absorption. And more damage, and we can't be stunned or frozen or petrified for the duration of these skills. So, great. But we can make that even better with a Mark of Divinity, which also gives us health regen, resistances, all that jazz. Mark of Divinity gives you Divine Light, and when you're at low health, for 3 seconds, you get 100% damage absorption. You also get 10% of your health restored, but that only happens once. You get 100% damage absorption. This is basically a mirror of Ariotes without the reflection or anything. So basically, when I get to low health on this build, I take no damage, I can't be stunned, I can't be frozen, I can't be petrified, and I get bonus damage. So, on its own, this item is probably made to, like, oh no, you're at low health, here's a free pass to let you retreat. There's no retreating here. I just go absolutely nuts when I have these things active and I kill everything on the screen. It's pretty fantastic. And that basically sums up all of why I've picked all of these. But let's talk about Oblivion for a second, because Zeal is still good. It gives you a lot of damage, it gives you offensive ability, it gives you attack speed, it gives you the Zeal proc, which is incredible. But it's not Oblivion. And Oblivion gives you 36, well, I think it's base 30, but mine rolled 36. It gives you 36 reduced target resistances for 5 seconds. It gives you chaos resistance, it gives you damage to chthonic enemies. That means, enemies of the void, it won't give you bonus damage against Bloodsworn. I think you need human for that. Like, bonus damage to humans. And my completion bonus, I was so lucky with this, also rolled 30% damage to chthonics. So if I combine that with, say, a Sanctified Bone component on my chest piece, I get plus 62% multiplicative damage against chthonic enemies, which is massive, which is why I can crush basically all of Act 3 with all of Act 4 with very little opposition. and I get reduced resistances, and that is basically twice the reduced resistances of a Mark of Dreed, so that's fantastic. But even better is if I swapped my weapons and got a Plague Bearers of the Abyss pistol that I put Blessed Steel on, and then I had a tome that I put Mark of Dreed on, which combined with all of this and Oblivion, I can reduce resistances by somewhere around 100 flat. So anything immune to lightning damage would take more than 0%. I think they'll be at minus 10 lightning damage if they were immune. If they had 0% lightning damage, they'll be taking double the damage from me if I Blessed Steel shoot them. Which is tremendously helpful against certain lightning damage heroes. It's tremendously helpful against bosses that have a lot of health. There's a lot of that in Ultimate. So this combo, I just pull it out whenever I want to really kill something, shoot once, swap back, and blow something up. Easy. And that's basically the build. As far as future leveling goes, because I have 3 more levels, which means 6 more skill points, I don't really know what I'm going to do, because I don't need anything. I might max out Veil of Shadow. I'll probably do that. I really don't know what else to take, because the build is done, it works, it can crush Ultimate. I mean, it can't crush it, Ultimate is still a challenge, but yeah. That's the Heavenly, what did I say this was? Heavenly Maelstrom? Heavenly something or other build. Hope you enjoyed. I'll attach some gameplay over this, or after this, in the meantime. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you next time. Most trash mobs don't really pose an issue whatsoever. You can fight them kind of spammily, like an elite or normal. Really the only things to worry about in Steps of Torment are the bosses, skeletal golems, and 1 or 2 heroes. Lord Hensworth shouldn't be terrible. I just can't attack him while he's reflective, that's all. Actually, I probably could. Reflection isn't as huge a concern as it used to be, but yeah. One thing I forgot to talk about when I was going over the base parts of the build is knockdown. The static strike skill, which is where most of my damage is coming from, has a very good chance to knock down opponents. And there's a lot of enemies that can be knocked down, and so when I fight a hero like that or something, and I'm just bashing on them endlessly, chances are they're not going to get many skills off and they just keep getting knocked down over and over again. Which is pretty cool. So individual heroes don't really pose much of an issue. There's a ghost hero to the right of me, I saw that. But you can't knock down ghosts, so that's a little bit concerning. So yeah, ghosts are a little bit worrisome sometimes. I'm gonna have to kill the priest before I fight this guy. Also a little worrisome, but overall it's monstrosities and gargantuans that are really the only concerning things that can reliably kill me. The overhead attack of a skeleton monstrosity has the potential to insta-kill me from full health. So don't really want to get hit by that. Dread Scroll, that's cool. Scrap, that's cool. I don't really have any crit chance versus bosses or anything, but I do have decent crit chance against regular mobs such as this, which means I can proc, ooh, here's a monstrosity. Means I can proc Reckless Tempest often enough to help clear trash. Yeah. That was the two-handed attack that I should have avoided, but I did not. Okay. Dread Skull. I think it made my Mercy proc go off. I think that's what this is. Yeah. Mercy. Tenebrist, Lifestealer, Tenebris, however you want to pronounce it. Kill the priests. I don't have to kill the priests in order to kill things, it just makes it kind of easier. I'm pretty sure I can out DPS their healing, but it might take a little longer if RNGesus does not favor me. So I just decide to go for them. Tyrants of the Wastes. That's not bad. That's really not bad. Spawn here. Alright. First floor done. No spawn. Sometimes the build impresses me and everything dies before I kind of intended it to, so I kind of stand there for a moment trying to hit things that are already dead. I'm not used to this build yet. If you didn't see it there, the Pretty Great Pants proc basically just looks like a flashbang. I didn't throw any flashbangs in the previous fight, there it was again. So it's not something you can really discern from viewing, but you can easily tell from playing if you don't throw a flashbang out and you see a flashbang explosion. There it was again. It was Pretty Great Pants. Man, these apparitions are going hard. Not hard enough. So I have somewhere around 300 HP per second life regen, which is nice, but it's made totally obsolete when you have 20% lifesteal. Really the only time that the health regen makes a difference is against enemies that you can't lifesteal from. I have the, what is this, Wayward Soul? No, Giant's Blood. Giant's Blood is on hit, Wayward Soul is on crit. When they go off, and they often go off at the same time, and when they do, I'm pretty sure, save for one-shots, I can't die. Which is kinda cool. This is almost definitely having a gargantuan. No? Oh, okay. There's the damage spikes. Alright, so that yellow icon on my hotbar, whatever you want to call it, that's the thing that makes me totally invincible for 3 seconds. It's on cooldown right now, but when it went off, I just decided to go all out, kill as much as I could. When it goes off, I generally wouldn't recommend using canister bomb, because that's not defeats the whole purpose. The canister bomb is made to stun enemies, but it has its own casting animation, so why waste part of the 3 seconds in which you're immune stunning enemies so that you don't take damage? I'll throw it here, for instance. flashbang. There's a lot of reduced resistances around me. Alright. Cool. Well, 2 floors and I haven't had to use a potion, so build is going well so far. Let's see what Misery does. For the record, I do not have the, whatchamacallit, the Devotion Shrine that's to my left. I am not going there. Don't want to bother with that. I already have 50 devotion points. I don't need to do the ultimate Steps of Torment shrine. Oh. Getting frozen is a nuisance, but I haven't ever died to it on this build. So not a huge concern. And Storm Revenants are meaningless. They have better resistances against my damage type, but that's the only thing going for them. Man, there's a lot of them. Holy crap. Seems I got lucky and there's no skeleton gargantuan here. Which is kind of strange. I do have maxed reputation, so I kind of expected more opposition around here. Alright, what's in our fancy chest? Spellweave lead wraps, garbage. Can't recall if there's another Musa Lake, whatever the hell it is, spawn. I know there's one around here, but I can't remember if there's one in the next room. Oh, there's a Swift Aura, I think. It's either that or an Aether Aura. Or I'm just seeing things. Yeah, I might just be seeing this. Yep, I don't know what I'm talking about. Cool. Is that my bro, Lord Harris the Damned? Yes, it is. He is blocking the way to the healers, which kind of sucks. Oh god, okay. Dodging these projectiles like a boss, except for that one. Which almost one-shot me. If I could just stop getting spawns, that'd be really cool, because I want to kill this hero. I don't care about the little guys whacking on me. Oh, maybe I should care. Oh crap, healer. Ooh. Okay. You know what? Fuck you. Oh, I missed. Ooh. Hello. I will take it. Can't remember if this is the dirt one or not. Yeah, I think that's the dirt one. Oh, I very nearly just died. That's cool. Thanks, straight. Okay. No, thank you. Not really worried about this fight a whole lot, because 90% fire resist, but if I try to fight him as the ads are attacking me, we could have a bad time. Still have my low health parts up though, so that's cool. Alright. Alright, I hope you're ready for 3 hours of fighting a really boring fight. 'Cause that's what Ultimate is. I'm throwing canister bombs down, but it's not doing anything. Really, the only conceivable reason I would throw one down to actually get anything out of it would be to play the RNG game with my offensive ability rolls and miss on all of the hits with canister bomb, so that I'm more likely to hit on my non-canister bomb hits. That'd be the best possible outcome of throwing a canister bomb. Bam. Easy. Don't care. I have destroyed the priest. Thank you, I understand. Goodbye. Where is it? Boop. Alrighty then. I'm not going there yet. I want to farm a little bit more.